So if we are going to make a difference, why would we only focus on the 13% like a lot of other conservation groups focus on when the other 87% is where we got to do something? And so that's our passion, our drive, and it's the hill we're going to die on.
Welcome to the LandTrust Podcast, where land, technology, and the outdoors meet. Whether you're a landowner, an outdoor enthusiast, or someone curious about the future of recreation on private land, you're in the right place. Each episode, we share real stories from the LandTrust community, from unforgettable guest experiences to conversations with landowners about their land and why they choose to share it, plus interviews with leaders, shaping how we all experience the outdoors. And now, here's your host, Nick DeCastro.
Welcome to the LandTrust Podcast, where land, technology, and the outdoors come together. This episode is part of our Outsides Insider series, where we sit down with the founders, operators, and insiders shaping the future of the outdoor industry. Before we dive in, just a quick note that the opinions expressed by our guests are their own and don't necessarily reflect the views of this organization or theirs. Today's guest is Jason Lupardis. He's the CEO of Turkeys for Tomorrow, a fast-growing conservation group working to reverse the decline of wild turkey populations through science, habitat, and grassroots engagement. Jason brings nearly 2 decades of experience in wildlife and habitat management, and he's one of the leading voices in the effort to protect America's most iconic game bird. And I'm excited to finally announce that we are partnering with Turkeys for Tomorrow to support their mission and help scale impact across private lands. You'll hear more about that and what that partnership looks like in today's episode and how you can get involved. Jason, welcome to the show.
Man, I appreciate you having me on. We're very excited about the future and love having this partnership with you because it takes great minds thinking alike to get things done.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the things I think we can get into in the conversation too. But I do feel in the kind of legacy nonprofit space, private lands can be overlooked and public lands are kind of the focus, which public lands are great and they're super necessary. They serve a great purpose. But when you and I connected first, it was cool to hear that we have a very aligned vision on private lands and their role in conservation.
Absolutely, man. There's a lot of history in private lands, and I cut my teeth really working with private landowners, and so it's always been a passion of mine. And no doubt, I have done a ton of public land projects across the United States on with state agencies, federal agencies, et cetera. And so all of that kind of goes into the suite of knowledge of how do we solve a problem. And literally, man, I'm just a turkey nut. I'm going to tell you, I'm just your average Joe, turkey hunter that just loves to hunt and get out there. I have a lot of people ask me like, wow, what's this whole issue of turkey decline and why do you want more turkeys? And I'm like, I'm just going to shoot you straight. I love to turkey hunt. And so if I can't have more turkeys to chase, it's hard to hunt them, right? And so, our goal is to try to bring turkeys back. And if we look across the coastal plain of the United States and really up the East Coast, up the Mississippi River Valley, down to the Southwest, Texas, Oklahoma, that's where we're seeing our biggest issues with turkey decline. And so TFT really has stepped in to try to address that. And if you look at the ownership along that suite of states, it's primarily privately owned. Here in the eastern U.S., as we know, you've been in the private lands arena. Was it about 87% of the ownership in the eastern U.S. is private landowners? So if we are going to make a difference, why would we only focus on the 13% like a lot of other conservation groups focus on when the other 87% is where we got to do something? And so that's our passion, our drive, and it's the hill we're going to die on.
Yeah, it's refreshing because again, we've been around now 6.5 years, and we've talked to a lot of the organizations. We've done some work with some of them. But you do feel a little bit like the redheaded stepchild when you talk about private land and private land ownership, and not just, some of the work that's been done with private landowners in the organizations do some stuff there, but it's a lot of times you see open public access required to do anything with them too. So if you're a private landowner and you want to do some work with them, they say, cool, but you got to allow, open public access. And that's a roadblock for a lot of landowners. You mentioned 87% the East. The lower 48 is 70% private. And most of the public land is in the West. And And so that's kind of what I've been saying since the beginning. If you want to talk about access and, for hunting and fishing and other stuff, I want to focus on the 70%. They're not going to be making any more land. Public lands are a phenomenal resource. I lived out in the West. I grew up in the West. And I've hunted and fished and recreated a ton on public lands. But it's funny, I just released an article yesterday called Public Land and the Tragedy of the Commons, because it's what you see, right? For people who aren't familiar, the Tragedy of the Commons is a shared resource that has open access to it. With rational actors, you're just going to be extractive, right? And there's no one who has this, none of them have responsibility for that resource. And man, I can't tell you how many conversations I've had, and it's really been this season, from Western guys, a lot of Western guys, but not all, specifically in the West, who were just saying, dude, public land is just getting beat up. Everything, all the places I used to go to, everywhere I go, there's tons of people, and the experience is just degraded incredibly so,
Yep, it's interesting, man. I just come off a public land hunt here in Kentucky, where I'm based out of, and literally the same thing. I mean, I'm supposed to be on a late season elk hunt, put in for 14 years, man. I finally got drawn on a hunt, and literally I have big razors, ORVs, driving through in a place.
Yeah, like the $50,000 rigs. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I just hiked in before daylight. I'm at this high point. I'm the only one wearing orange, and here these guys come playing music, doing everything, burning the road up, and just I told a friend of mine that was with me, I was like, we should have brought a garbage bag. We could have collected enough beer cans, along this pathway to pay for our gas. I mean, it's so frustrating to see that, and ultimately, man, I think private lands offer opportunities for folks to get out and to recreate. But more importantly, from a wild turkey standpoint, wild turkeys cover a lot of ground, man. And literally, we have to think about this beyond just our backyard or beyond a public landowner. And how do we bring people together and get people thinking about solving the problems together? And it may even go beyond wild turkeys, man. This is really what I call a conservation movement, where we have to get people thinking about, hey, I know what you're doing on your property, but let's work together, because you always get more done and literally
cooperating.
Have more impacts. Yes, cooperating. Yes,
cooperating.
So it's these cooperatives for us is a big deal, man. We've been talking about it for a bit, and we're trying to drive this now at the local level. We've even put together some. It's really a plan of attack of what to do. Wild turkeys cover a lot of ground, man. Here in the eastern U.S., we can talk about western birds as well, but in the eastern U.S., the average home range where a turkey has to make a living is 2 to 4 square miles. All right.
Wow.
So for some of y'all that know what 4 square miles is, that is around 2,500 acres. Okay. So this one bird that you may want to chase every spring is covering about 4 square miles. And these gobblers will even, as we know, the males will, I'm going to tell y'all, don't let this hurt your ears, but males will cover a little bit more ground because we're pretty stupid. And you got one time a year to chase a lady, and we'll go an extra mile for it, right? And so that's just a part of it. But and you look at the average landowner, like parcel sizes, okay? This is what really, depending on what state you're in, et cetera, but if you look at that rural landscape, and, the average landowner may only have 50 acres, 100 acres. And so you start looking at regulations, what's going on. This becomes very challenging, okay? So there's a lot of people in a 4 square mile area that this bird, even during that season, may be on several properties, and you don't even know that, because they have these basically communal roost sites, right? So the research says that this bird may hang out for a few days, and it goes to its next, basically roost site in its home range. And you're going back going, hey, this is the trees that these birds were in. Why aren't they here today? Well, that bird moved. And you go back 2 days later, like, oh, they're back. Well, it may be another bird. And a lot of people don't realize that. So there's some science behind this, which is really, really interesting.
Yeah. And, when you look at it from a conservation perspective, if you want to affect change, private land is also really uniquely interesting because it doesn't require laws. It doesn't require legislation. It doesn't require administrations.
No
and you look
policies
at
involved.
no policy. It's just like, hey, if you go talk to that guy and he's like, yeah, okay, I'll buy into that. There you go. You're day one. If you can get cooperation, if you can show why this is important and what the benefits are. And hey, by the way, we do have self-interest. So that's the thing with LandTrust. The profit incentive, if it pays, it stays, is the old saying. And in Africa,
Yep.
I've talked to a lot of people who've done a lot of work in Africa. Like, it's very clear here. If wildlife pays, it stays. If it doesn't, they're gone. So
Yep.
that's a really beautiful thing about conservation on private lands, is it can be said yes to and started work on the same day. Obviously it takes time for these things to happen. Whereas when you're in the public land sphere, it's administration, pendulum swing, all this work and lobbying and get it to the thing. And then, new administration, like, nah, screw that. We're getting rid of everyone. So it's just like, I could never do it. I could never work in government. I'm a startup guy. I like to get stuff done. You and I meet and we're like, we both like each other. We both like what each other do. And we're like, let's do it. And we can
Let's
go
get
do
her
it.
done. Yeah.
So,
man.
that is a really cool piece of the private land piece from a conservation perspective too.
No, I agree, man. You're spot on. I love that. The red tape involved to move something along, and believe me, man, I've been one of those guys to move things along. I even worked for a state agency for a number of years, and so I get it. And when I cut my teeth, actually down in South Georgia, okay, southern half of the state, I'm kicking around, just working exclusively with private landowners to manage any species. It didn't matter if it was a gopher tortoise, a rattlesnake, or if you wanted bobwhite or big deer or waterfowl on the coast. They're calling me up, and man, what I noticed over time is all these folks. It's different levels of people, right, and what they want to do. And some people wanted a full-blown plan, very laid out, etc. But some folks, as soon as I met with them, they're taking notes. I get a call a week later, like, hey, man, I got a guy here cutting trees. Yeah, we're going to get it done. And so it's very invigorating. You work with all these people. Mm-hmm. And you also learn about some different techniques on the landscape of what to do that it may not even be in the books yet, right? It may not be in that peer-reviewed literature, but you're out there on the ground seeing it happen. And you see it work. And so what I see, and we got another little term we've been using here at TFT, we have a ton of citizen scientists out there. And these are the private landowners. They're the ones out there getting their fingers dirty every day doing things because they care about wildlife, man. And they care about the land, and they're trying to do something to really leave a legacy. I mean, we call it the wild turkey legacy, right? And so it's really interesting that we can help drive even the science of this and some solutions for folks that may already be well advanced ahead of what's been published in a book that sits on a shelf that really no one even knows about. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to connect all these dots and fast forward it. I'm a doer, just like you said. I like to get things done. I want to see results. We want to create these incubators of success, right? I want a landowner or landowners working together in a cooperative to produce a lot of turkeys because they're working together, they're figuring it out. And honestly, here's the beautiful thing, man. They're doing community work. I'm going to call it God's work, right? Yeah. So what they're doing on their property, those birds are leaving and now being on other people's properties. And so your neighbor a half mile away or mile away is actually benefiting from your efforts. I mean, does it get any better than that?
Yeah, I mean, it's an Aldo Leopold quote. Conservation will ultimately boil down to rewarding the private landowner who conserves the public interest. That's exactly what you're talking about. The work they're doing there,
amen, brother.
Those birds they're not gating the birds in, and that's what they're doing. And it's something that I think needs to be recognized because it costs money. It's funny. I did a podcast yesterday, somebody else's podcast with one of our landowners. And he talked about it. He's like, dude, I put $13,000 to $15,000 a year into food plots, trimming, burning, all that stuff. On top of just taxes and purchasing the land, all that. And those deer, those turkeys that are on his property, he's not fencing them in, so that's explicit cost, not to mention the 100+ hours that he's putting out there himself. And we have a ton of landowners that are doing that kind of work all the time, where there are explicit costs to do this for conservation, for wildlife and habitat.
Absolutely, man. It's pretty cool, man, working with folks that, I mean, they just care about the land and they care about the wildlife and they care about doing something that's going to truly leave a legacy on the land and for the future generations. And, oftentimes it's not about me, myself, and I, but they're giving back, man. Like I said, it's God's kind of work, and when we see people with that mindset, man, it's helping everything out there, and to bring others around to get a little taste of, hey, if you do the X, Y, and Z, this is going to help you see X, Y, and Z.
Yep.
And so all of a sudden, you can start really a movement at a local level and really start tackling some of the issues we're seeing with multiple species, not even just turkeys, but
if you've got great turkey populations,
others,
you're going to have healthy populations of deer, potentially bobwhite and other species that are in that region too.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, we jumped right in, but I usually start with getting your bona fides. So tell folks a little bit about you, your background, how you got here.
Oh man, I'll try to be fast because I'm a Southern hillbilly, and so it'll take me a few minutes. But yeah, man, I went to school at UT Knoxville. I bleed a lot of orange, and worked on my undergraduate and my master's there. Man, worked on an elk reintroduction in the Cumberland Mountains, and so
Cool.
Still very close to my heart. So I was chasing that passion recently, which was good, and then got lost with a state agency for a bit down in South Georgia, working as a really private lands biologist. Jumped on with the National Wild Turkey Federation, working as a biologist to a director for conservation programs, and also doing some development work. And then went to USA, Union Sportsmen for a bit, working as a chief operating officer over there. And then even started up a private consulting firm on my side just because I needed more things to do. And then literally TFT, it just kind of was there. And, I had a friend of mine, a really close friend of mine, that said, hey, I heard TFT needs some help. We ought to talk to him. And I went, okay. And I'm a passionate turkey guy, man. I love to turkey hunt. I chase turkeys in way too many places. I chase spring every year because that's my passion. I love it. And literally, I reached out to Ron Jolly, one of the founders, and another board member, Kevin Matthews at the time, and just had a discussion. They're like, hey, man, can you come to our board meeting? Would love to meet you. And I'm like, sure. And so from there, I just kind of signed in initially just to try to help stand the organization up. And then they're like, well, hey, could you help run this thing? Like, you know a lot about turkey stuff. And I went, yeah, I would. Let me work this first contract out, and then we'll do it. But that's where the quick and dirty. I'm just a big outdoorsman, man, a big conservationist, and I love to hunt, love to fish, and so it is the fuel that it ignites my passions every day.
Yeah.
And I really want to. I mean, I'm always planning, like, what's the next trip and where's the next place we're going? What are we going to do? Who am I going to do it with? And I think that's what makes all this so fantastic. And so, anyway, very blessed to work in an arena where I don't feel like I'm working, man. I'm doing what I love, and not many people can say that.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel the same way, and it's the passions that lead to the kind of career choices. So I'm in the same boat there, and it's what's fun about being a sportsman is you have your home stuff that you kind of you're regular, and then you're always looking for that next experience, that new thing that you've not tried. And that we work in the trips business, so that's my whole business is like, great, you got your local lease or your local club, but you want to go chase elk in Montana or whatever. We help facilitate that stuff, which is fun.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
So you went from biologist to CEO. You did work for NWTF for a long time, like what, 10 years?
Almost 10 years, yep.
Okay, so a lot of experience there. When I look at I've never been a nonprofit guy, and I've observed the space from the outside. What do you feel like the gap in the current, or let's call it the legacy nonprofit landscape, was that TFT is now filling?
Yeah, I tell you, man. Number one, when TFT come on the radar, and it was literally a bunch of folks that were going out to places where they didn't see turkeys where they used to, and like alarm signals were going off. Now, behind the scenes, I mean, I can tell you the exact meeting I was in a long time ago where we first talked about wild turkey decline. Was it put out publicly at that date? Nope, sure wasn't. Were the state agencies concerned? Yes, they were. And for a lot of reasons, the state agencies are supposed to represent the hunters, right? And we're doing what's best for the folks that are paying the bills to do this. And, we're seeing some turkey numbers in decline. So TFT stepped in and said, hey, we need to do something. We need to really fuel a lot of research toward why these birds are declining. And we don't need, ancillary research that has no benefits to solve the problem, right? There's a lot of research in many different species arenas, ecological arenas. It puts some data into the books that may or may not have any contribution to population dynamics, okay? And so this is what's very important. And so TFT stood in, and we're basically just moving money directly back into research projects because we have to solve the problem. I mean, I will tell you, man, I grew up in North Alabama. That's where I cut my teeth as a kid in Northwest Alabama. Didn't see a turkey until I think I was 18 years old.
Wow.
Now, those two counties in North Alabama, Lauderdale and Limestone County, if you look on the map in Alabama right now, you'll notice that the worst population or the least hunting opportunity for turkeys is in those two counties, okay? And so I grew up and really didn't see turkeys. I mean, I was already deer hunting, doing other things, squirrel hunting, et cetera. But when I first saw one, had that experience, and it really, rattled the soul. When you have a bird gobbling at you close and it rattles your soul, you change. Your mindset changes. And ever since then, and I never knew this was going to happen, man. I never knew this would happen, but I didn't know that one day I would be in a position to try to drive to make sure we have turkeys there and to try to make sure other people don't experience that. So TFT stood up to try to drive, really heavy research again, like we got to solve the problem, and started just driving it to any researcher willing to listen. And I think that's a big deal. And so we also helped stand up a podcast behind the scenes when no one else would support Dr. Lashley and Dr. Goolsby to talk the science, right? Let's dumb down the science and make it where everyone can learn about it each day. And so the Wild Turkey Science Podcast was a big deal. It's like, let's get the education and information out to people because people have these questions. Turkey hunters are probably one of the most passionate group of folks and crazy people that will do anything to chase a doggone bird. And so TFT stands up. They want to do that, right? It's a drive. But then as we started discussing things, and just as I alluded to earlier, this is where we connect here, right?
Yeah.
If we're going to solve this issue, it's going to be on private lands. All the researchers in the turkey community right now will tell you this. If we're going to solve wild turkey decline issues, and if we're going to have an impact, we have to address private landowners now. Okay, now. We can't wait. We can't wait like Bob White. We're way behind. We have to start now. And with how we measure, okay, population dynamics with turkeys, it's all on harvest. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, we're always 2 years behind on that current methodology because we're looking at harvest, and most of your birds harvested are 2-year-old birds. Okay, 55+% of your birds in almost every state are 2-year-old birds. That's when a young male becomes that teenager, right? They just learned about ladies, and they get gobbling, going, "Hey, baby, I'll walk an extra mile, see you." And so, and that's what provides those exciting turkey hunts too.
Yeah.
And so, what we see, even from a management standpoint, we're kind of in a pinch hole of going, okay, what's going on? We have some data we get on the front side with hen to poult ratios, but we tend to struggle with some of that because oftentimes it's just some state agency staff that are grabbing that. And so we haven't had enough citizen scientists out there to address that. So there's several things here that I'm putting some seeds out that we're about to address in a way no one's ever done before because we're hungry to solve the problem. And I'll tell you, with any business, if there's a problem and you can solve it, you're going to be in business for a long time. And I think that's why we're growing so robustly right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is one of those things that cooperation, of course, state agencies have their role to play in regulation and collecting revenues and all that kind of stuff from the hunting fishing communities. But those private landowners, we have about 1.5 million acres of land on the platform today. Most of our landowners are owner-operator production ag, so they're farmers and ranchers. They live and work on their land. I mean, who's going to know what's going on with the population better than the people that are out on the land 365 days a year?
Absolutely.
And so to not be able to not tap and harness that knowledge, if you're trying to do something like conservation, is crazy. And frankly, there needs to be a model for it. Like, it's private markets. It needs to be, it's not just because they're bleeding hearts. Not that they don't care. They do care. They own that land. And it's interesting to see how much care there is there, even if they don't hunt. A lot of our landowners don't hunt, but they know what the turkeys are doing. They know what the quail or the pheasant are doing. They know what the deer are doing. And they know what good looks like. They've seen the good years, the bad years, the drought years, all that stuff. And they care, even if they're not hunters. And so between those people out on the landscape every single day of the year and technology like game cameras, et cetera, there's a lot of opportunity. And that's what I'm excited about with our partnership. And I think maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. So on LandTrust, turkeys is the number one thing, type of hunt booked on LandTrust. And it has been now for years going. So, as you said, turkey hunters are rabid. We see guys come on and book 4 or 5 bookings in a row, and you just see them making their loop across states, right? We've got guys that are, chasing their slams and doing all that. And I think turkey hunting is really uniquely, like, this short-term kind of lease model is really fits turkey hunting well. You could show up to a farm and hunt a turkey for a day or two and be successful, right? I think uniquely with species. But with our partnership now, what we want to do is every single booking on the platform, you'll see there's a $10 conservation donation. And we've given that to different organizations throughout the years. So, but the goal of it always was, let's find and partner with these organizations so that if you're booking a turkey hunt on LandTrust, you're putting $10 in the hat for the guys actually doing the work to make sure that turkeys are still there and there's more of them next year. And we had done some stuff with NWTF years ago, and it just, it's funny. One of their conservation people in the West kind of I'll say it, threw a fit and was like, "These are private land guys." And it's like, okay, yeah, I was never, that's what the business is. We're not bashful about it. And it severed the relationship, which was unfortunate. And so, what we want to do is find a great turkey conservation organization, which we've found with you guys, who's growing, who's, quick to get stuff on the ground, and say, great, every guy or gal who's booking turkey hunts, who's chasing this thing that they love, is going to put $10 in the hat. And if they book 5 turkey hunts in the same day, they're putting $50 in the hat for you guys. So that's how our partnership's going to work from a funding mechanism. So it's kind of this perennial funding mechanism. And as we continue to grow, that grows with you guys. This year will probably be, this last year, I think it was $4 to $5K of conservation fees that we'll be putting towards you guys at the beginning of our relationship. I'm a transparent guy, and we're going to grow that. And again, I love this funding mechanism because it's directly from the demand. People want to get out and hunt turkeys, and they're just going to keep putting money in the hat. It doesn't matter if they're already a member of yours, a member of other organizations. If they're booking stuff on LandTrust, is going to you guys, and I love that. And then I think the other piece here is the mechanics on how to get cooperation on the landowner side. So we already have 800 plus landowners, 1.5 million acres of land, and we're going to grow that very strongly in the coming years. But we also know a lot, and our landowners are directly engaged in our platform, and they're making money from having high quality habitat and wildlife. I mean, if you break it down, that's what they're making money from. They have high quality habitat and wildlife. And I've seen, ranchers out west, they're like, turkeys? Bro, you can go shoot 20 turkeys in the feedlot right now if you want. I could give it, they don't care. They're like, what are you talking to me about? And I'm like, no. Yep. People come out here and pay you good money to come out and chase those turkeys around. Like, okay. And the next year they make $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 from some turkey owners coming out and having a blast shooting some toms. And they're like, hey, how do we have better turkey habitat? Why? Why? Is it because they're bleeding heart turkey conservationists? No, because it's a unrealized asset that's now a realized asset. It's not that they hate them, but that kind of profit incentive, and it's one of those things that the hunting world has been so, in the U.S. has been so bashful about, putting profit and hunting in the same, sentence. Is like, whoa, especially in the West. No, that is exactly what needs to happen. On private lands, this is a private market. They have property taxes, they have bills. In our case, most of our farmers and ranchers, those are operations. They are businesses. Their land is their business. And so you need to show that this is an asset. Having high quality habitat and wildlife populations are assets. And once you do,
Absolutely.
they invest into those assets. And so we can mechanically, we're not scientists, we're not biologists, we don't have the knowledge, we have the platform and the reach. And so that's why, like a partnership like ours, I want to bring your guys' knowledge directly to our landowners in a way that hasn't really been able to be done before. And that's what I'm excited about too. And not only because I want to see more wild turkeys and better wildlife and habitat populations, because I have a profit incentive. Like, we're a for-profit business. So if our landowners are doing better work and have better wildlife and habitat populations, we all make more money. More money goes to you guys. So it's like this interesting self-licking ice cream cone,
It really is, man. A lot of people don't look at it like that. It's all a really contained system. And if it's done well, it starts at the local level, right? And so it's a beautiful thing if you can incentivize a landowner to do things. We see this with farm bill programs and other things to try to get people to start thinking about, like, hey, if you want wildlife, this is what you can do. And so this is how we look at it too. If we can get people really trying to manage for turkeys correctly, then basically their habitat improves, other species start using it, and then really the whole valuation of their property increases, whether it's directly or indirectly. And that's fantastic. And then you're actually impacting your neighbors' properties as well in a positive way. And so once again, giving back to the community. I'll give you an example of, and it's really crazy. The same things we're talking about some months ago, back in August, there were a few of us that we went over to New Zealand. Same thing, man. It's very interesting dynamics. But I was meeting with quite a few landowners, and they had no clue. And just like you, we have someone there that's trying to talk to people like, these turkeys have a value.
Yes.
And the value for those was actually higher than what they were having to do for sheep on their property, okay? And they're like, this turkey is worth like 3 of your sheep, okay? And when you put it like that, they're like, huh? And so when I met with one of these guys, and they got this heavy accent, and we're kind of cutting up, but I went out there and I said, well, hey, you need some just tall weeds, and I'm not talking species or anything. And he's like, yeah, but it looks good. It looks like a golf course everywhere, right? Like a lot.
Yeah, that's not good nesting habitat.
No, it's terrible. And so this one guy's like, we got turkeys and they produce a bunch, but it seemed like the little poults always die. And I'm like, because they have no cover and they don't have a lot of predators. And so I'm like, let's say you just do some rotational grazing. And they're like, what's that?
Yeah.
And so something that, a term that we use here in the U.S., rotational grazing. Yep. Let's fence them out for a bit. Let's move them here. And this one guy, he was just like, so you're telling me if these grasses get up to about knee or thigh high, it's good? I'm like, buddy, that's freaking awesome. I said, if you can have a few areas like that, I said, then you put your sheep back on it after they hatch out and these birds are doing their thing. And I said, you can still move the sheep back on a little bit later, but now you have habitat and a lot more birds. And so it got his wheels just cranking, man. He was just like, oh, Mike, we're going to make a lot of money here. And I'm like, yes, you will. And so it's really cool. I mean, it's that basic, man.
It's that basic.
Simple.
Yeah, and we've seen it now. Again, 6 years, same thing. You put the profit incentive there. Again, it's not that they don't like them or they're anti them, but it's just like, hey, man, I got a lot of stuff to do. I got to try to pay bills. I'm just not really that focused. They're there. I don't know why they're there. But if you start to show them, no, there's a value to these things. And here's how to grow that value. And by the way, that growing that value means habitat work. That's all it is, right? It's just habitat work. Here it's predator work. So I'm excited because the work we're doing, we're building AI assistants for both our sportsmen and our landowners. And that AI assistant for our landowners with you guys is now going to be able to know exactly where this property is geospatially. So that means what season it is, what weather's doing, all that stuff. And we can be like notifying individual landowners of like, hey, it's January 14th when we're recording this. And, this is what's coming in South Alabama where I'm located. in the next 2 weeks, you're going to see this. It would be great if you can do this. Like maybe we can give them just like very specific information that's personalized, that because most of our landowners want to do these things, but they don't, like, they got other stuff going on. They're not going to go do the research. They're not going to go like, what's my plan for turkeys? But if we can just give them those tidbits of like, hey, don't mow right in the next 3 weeks. Right?
Do not mow through
Don't
June.
mow.
Okay, I'll tell you right now. Do not mow through June.
Yes. So like those
research
types of
says,
things.
Yep.
Exactly.
Little things
Those
like
types
right
of
around the
things.
corner, man. Like you're in South Alabama right now, and honestly, what a beautiful time of the year to be overseeding with some clover or something, right? You can sling it on the ground, you can frost seed, but basically you're going to have some spots that's going to attract birds. It's going to provide high nutrition not only for turkeys but for deer and other species. And if you're in a situation where you have cattle and other things, man, talking about from a nutrition standpoint, this is a great time in the coastal plain to be thinking about that, because right around the corner you're going to have massive green up, earliest green up in the nation in the coastal plain of the U.S. And so, those are things to be thinking about now, because it's January and it's about to get hopping. Sunshine doesn't stop down there. So
that's the kind of stuff that we could
things.
just put. We could just plant that seed with them. No pun intended. But as a text message, just like, oh, okay, sure. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about that. I have 1,000 other things going on, but now I'm thinking about it. Don't mow, or this is when they're about to start, laying and hatching and whatever, right?
And honestly, man, let's say, some of these landowners you're working directly with right now in this program to provide really access to hunters. What you also need to do is to try to, curtail disturbance.
Yes.
As these birds are breeding and these birds are they're already out there strutting, doing their thing. I mean, most of these birds will have been bred before the turkey season opens. But to limit disturbance on some of those key roads or pathways or openings prior to the season opening, when you're going to have these guys wanting to book hunts, that's really doggone important because it's going to provide a more quality hunt. And then all of a sudden, that individual is going to get booked out quickly again. And so these are just small.
It's the flywheel.
Tips. Yep, absolutely, man, absolutely. Just a couple small tips as we're here. And it's that time of year to really throw out there and to demonstrate what you can do to make your property even better for the upcoming spring turkey season.
Well, and I'm excited too because we partner with Tacticam or Reveal, the game camera guys, awesome guys. Mm-hmm. But we're working to get. I mean, we've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of game cameras across the country. It's like the NSA over here. But being able to feed you guys that kind of stuff too, right? And you start getting game cameras. I mean, there's a lot of data that we can be feeding back for the purposes of conservation and habitat improvement. And that's the stuff that I'm excited to work on. Like the funding mechanism's awesome. That's like an instant thing. We just turn it on. People are transacting on LandTrust all the time. All the turkey ones are going to you guys, but I'm excited to get roll the sleeves up and say, how do we work together, take the knowledge inside your organization and put it out to the people in a very bespoke way, not like a blanket newsletter, because that doesn't mean the same thing for someone here in South Alabama than North Alabama. It's just different things. So I'm excited for that work.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good, man. I mean, from that perspective, I mean, it's pretty crazy. I have one of the Tacticam reps lives in my home state, right up the road from me. Tammy Gass, she's fantastic. And so we've chatted quite a bit. I think she's going to be. We're going to launch a big New Zealand hunt again, and
nice.
I think there may be some of those folks attending. This
well, if you have an extra slot, great. I mean, I could probably negotiate it with my wife. I don't know.
Hey, man, we're gonna have a week for anyone with TFT, and we'll usually the outfitter tries to provide a little discount to folks that want to be there at the TFT week. So. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
We got some good things going. But also, man, I just want to pitch this out there. You have a lot of private landowners you're working with, and literally we have some really cool signage that we have developed just specifically for private landowners. And it's something that, we'd love to get to any of those. And we could work out, something with you guys on what that looks like. But some signage to really recognize, hey, you're working with someone that is really focused on turkeys, and, from the front gate to, even property boundaries if they want to do that. But we have developed some super nice aluminum plates that the nice little diamonds, and they're fantastic. We'll get that information out to you guys,
Great.
and even in some future information coming out, I'll make sure some of that is highlighted just so folks can see that. And I think it's interesting. We have even put together, just for those private landowners that's working with us, even some decals to stick on the back of their vehicle as a private landowner cooperative, because we want people to see this and to be thinking, man, how do I get a part of that? How do we get into that? Or they want to stick it on the cooler. So it's not just showing, like, hey, we're going to show the TFT brand, right? Or right here. But it's also saying we're a cooperative. And I want people to start thinking about that, because we have to change the culture and get people going, hey, how can I help? And for both of us, I see a tremendous opportunity to expand our programming where more people will get involved. Because I'm going to tell you, man, I love what you're doing. I love what you guys are doing, because it provides more opportunities for a hunter to go out and hunt. And it's not just going, hey, I'm going to the public ground where I may show up and there's 5 people at the gate, right?
That's a good scenario. That's like a pretty good scenario.
Dude,
5 would be not bad, right?
I've had those days too. Like, I'm the first guy there, and I'm like, yeah, I spent the night. I'm about to get up and go. And then it's like all these trucks show up. You're like, holy moly. And these people are like, we don't care. We're going in. We're going to fight you. And I'm like, oh, man. I have literally, dude, true freaking story. I have literally one year, I was on I won't say what state or which WMA, wildlife management area, but I was there. All right. And I was there. Bird had gobbled the day before. It's going to be, I know where to be. And this guy walks up to me in the dark. I see him coming, and truck's parked there. And then another guy, and they're like, hey, we've hunted this before. And I said, well, I was here yesterday. Like, well, we're here 3 days ago, and this is our bird. And they're like arguing with me in the dark. I'm like, okay, number one, this is ridiculous. Okay. Number 2, I was like, all right. I said, look here, gents. There's a lot of turkey ground here. I said, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm talking to guys. I have no clue who they are. I have no clue, right? This is what I told them. I said, this is what I'm going to do for y'all. I said, I'm going to walk on, and I'm going to let y'all hunt this. I said, because I have the ethics to do this, and I want y'all to think about this. And I'm honest to God discussion, man. 5:30 in the morning, in the dark, breaking daylight. And I'm like, I don't know who you guys are. I said, but y'all need to learn ethics. You need to learn how to talk to people. I said, because for all you may know, I may have a gun pointing your head right now. You don't even know it. And they're like, what? And I said, I'm just joking with y'all. I said, but here's the thing. I said, you can't come out here and be confrontational for a public resource. I said, I'm going to go on down. I said, I'll hunt a completely different spot. I don't mind at all. I said, I hope y'all think about what I just did. And no kidding, I ended up killing turkey that morning. Never heard a gunshot, so I kind of laughed. I was like, "Well, that's what happens." No,
and I interrupted you there, but that's it's that type of experience versus with LandTrust, where you're communicating with the landowner. It's yours for you and your party for the duration of your booking. You don't have to wake up at 2 a.m. to go park at the thing to and then maybe have that kind of interaction. Which we probably, if we're being honest, we've all had interactions like that where it's contentious and. And landowners are making some money, seeing that healthy wildlife and habitat populations equals an asset on their balance sheet. And I'm just excited to get to our landowners. I know you're holding behind the curtain a little bit of what you got coming next, but in the next couple of weeks, I think you're going to announce, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of things coming.
so yeah, I'm excited to share that with our landowners, get our landowners all, everyone who's got turkeys involved in the cooperative. And beyond. But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on and sharing that. Do you have any, I always ask, what hunts? Do you have your New Zealand hunt? What other hunts you got lined up?
Well, I'm not going to New Zealand this year.
Okay.
There's some other folks going, which I'd love to go back, and I will one day.
It's a long trip,
right? Yeah. So I'll be hosting a hunt down in Florida to get started.
Nice.
And we have a great young man coming, Shane Prophet. He's a budding musician, and it's going to be fun. And then I'm going to be in South Georgia, and then I'm going to bounce to Alabama. I think I'm going to hit the opener in Mississippi. Of course, I'll hit here in Kentucky. I got my Nebraska tags yesterday, which they sold out. 10,000 tags in 3 hours.
Wow.
So I grabbed those. I'll be hunting Wyoming and Colorado. So that's
Dang,
for sure
dude.
on the docket.
Have you been down? Have you gotten
wait.
your Goulds down in Mexico yet, or no?
I have not. It's scheduled for next year. So
I
yeah,
think I
man.
told you we've got a property 3 hours across the border, DIY Goulds.
All right, I need to
So-
look at that.
Yeah, DIY Goulds. You can drive across, not with a gun. If you want to shoot them with the bow, they got guns. If it's better not to drive across
Yes.
the border with guns. Yeah, and you get your own, like, I'm half Mexican. My grandmother's Mexican, and you get your own little Mexican grandmother. So it sounds like to do your cooking and stuff. So you probably the food would be like the best part for me. But
Sweet.
yeah, we've
I
got
need
some,
to look into that. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I tell you, finding a place to hunt Goulds, I wish we had more areas here in the U.S. to hunt Goulds because it's just a small little snippet of Arizona. And to put in for that tag, it's, man, good luck. I mean, lifetime of putting in, you might get drawn.
Hey, on LandTrust, you can go kill too if you want. Do it yourself.
Dude. All right, so if y'all don't know that, and I just learned this, man, that's freaking fantastic. You may have a few people line up on that pretty quickly, including me.
I'm still a newbie. I killed my first bird. I grew up upland hunting. I grew up over Brittany's hunting quail in the deserts of California, and I love upland hunting. I got into big game hunting in 2015, and then I killed my first turkey 2 or 3 years ago. And it was in Missouri, big bird, like 25-pound bird. It was awesome. I get it. As soon as I did that, I'm like, oh, I understand this. It's kind of like mini elk hunting,
Oh, dude, it is. There's just something about the gobble, the up close for those that can still hear well. The drumming, and when you experience all that, I'm gonna tell you one fantastic hunt I had last year, and it just, I have a lot of good hunts. Every hunt's good, right? But I had one of those where I actually had one day to hunt here in Kentucky, and it's crazy. I've been traveling a bunch. I'm just all about trying to get TFT structured, lifted, everything done. And so I've been gone for a week. I come in, and my wife's like, "Are you really going turkey hunting in the morning? You've been gone all week." I'm like, "Yes, I am." I said, "I'm going to leave early in the morning." And so get to the place, and literally, and it is a place on public ground that I hunt. And I like it because it's very rugged. It's over in the Boone National Forest. And so I'm on this ridge, but I'm like, well, baby, the other thing, the reason why I'm going is the morels are up right now.
There you
go.
And
I got to get some morels. And so she's like, "Oh, Lord, you got to go." Like, she loves for me to cook. And so I'm gone. So morning hunt. I'm on this ridge, and I'm really on this ridge because it's a mid-morning place to kill turkeys. I've taken a lot of people here to kill birds, first-timers. And I'm there, and this bird is gobbling across this, what we call, it's a high wall, right? So it's been mined out. It's straight down, and then it's like a valley, and then there's another ridge. So there's no getting to this bird unless you do some serious walking. And I'm like, oh, that bird's gobbling his head off. It's ain't daylight. I'm like, crap. I'm like, man, but I know I'm going to get morels here. So it's breaking daylight. I'm like, I'm going to pick up some morels, and then I'm going to turkey hunt. Well, this bird's still gobbling. I'm like, well, it's that drive. Like, well, I got to hit him, I got to see if I can light him up, and maybe he will start hammering back at me and get some other birds talking. So I did, and this bird, he starts double gobbling. I'm like, ooh, he is hot. God, he's hot. And literally, man, I had one bird kind of over the ridge for me hit finally, and ended up hearing 5 birds there. I'm like, okay. I said, I'm in the zone like always. This is good. I can start seeing, but this bird across this valley is still in hammer mode. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man. So I said, I'm gonna do a little fly down. So I get, I'm wearing my hat. Let me see which hat I'm on. I think I may have been wearing this hat. So I was like, did a little fly down, And literally, I did a fly down, and I'm like, man, I am screwing this bird. And I'm walking down the ridge to my honey hole morel spot. And something just kind of caught my eye, but I didn't know. I thought it was an owl or something like flying through. This bird pitched from this other ridge, soared across the valley, landed on the ridge with me about 50 yards down. And as I'm walking, I stop, and I just hear double gobble. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Whoa.
And it just blew my hat off. And I'm like, ooh, did he really just come across? And I'm kind of awestruck. Okay, it's not even like sunrise officially was at like 6:30 or something. This was like 6:05, 6:10. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I sit on a tree, pull my little mask up, and hit the call once. And this bird, because I called and moved down the ridge, he had projected ahead and landed out front waiting on this sexy hen called Loopy. And but that sexy hen, Loopy, decided to sit down, and he decided to come on down the ridge. Anyway, he comes on down the ridge within minutes. I killed this bird like 5 minutes before official sunrise, okay?
Wow.
And it was fast and furious. And he come in just hammer gobbling the whole way. I'm like, oh, my gosh. Stopped and drummed once, but he was just ready. So I harvest this bird, maybe 30 yards. Go over there, and it's a double-bearded bird with, like, both the beards like 10.5, 11 inches long.
Holy cow.
I mean, it was one of those mornings.
Trophy
it was
bird.
so surreal, man. Dude, and then I picked up, I don't know, a bag, like a decoy bag of morels. I carry an old decoy bag with me, and it's just these hand-sized morels. It's fantastic. I'm like, that's
God smiled upon you that morning, I'll tell you what.
Tell you what, it'll never happen again like that. But, man, every now and then when you get those special days, God, I can't wait to go back. Anyway.
Well, Osceola season kicks off, the next couple weeks?
Yeah, man. March. There's an early season in March, and then we're going to be down for the opener of the North Zone, which is the weekend of March the 20th-ish.
Okay.
So I'm counting down the days, man. It's coming. All right. Can't wait.
Well, Jason, I really appreciate it. Appreciate you guys' partnership. Excited to kind of like launch this thing officially and do the work and put a bunch more turkeys in the field and a portion of them in the bag. And we'll have to get out and hunt together. You have to show me how to. I'm a total newbie, so I don't know anything. I can shoot, but yeah,
it's a deal, dude. I mean, if you're in Alabama, it sounds like we got to get together and make it happen.
Yeah, yes, sir. So, by the way, socials. Where should people find you guys? All that stuff.
Sure, turkeysfortomorrow.org. As far as our website, if you look up Turkeys for Tomorrow, you'll find us anywhere. So we're on all the major platforms.
Great.
Meta galore, TikTok, you name it, you will find us.
Okay, awesome. Well, go find those guys there. Become a member today. Book turkey hunts on LandTrust. You're going to be putting money in the pot for them. And stay tuned. Thanks, Jason.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Appreciate you.
So, as you heard, go find turkeysfortomorrow.org. Become a member. I don't know how much it is. It might be $30, something like that. Become a member with those guys. Support them. They have their flocks. That's what they call their kind of regional organizations. So if you want to start a flock, inquire with those guys on how to start a flock. They got a bunch popping up all over the country. Find them on social media, Turkeys for Tomorrow. If you search on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, all that stuff. So just search Turkeys for Tomorrow and you'll find it. And support those guys. And again, now with our new partnership, every single turkey booking that happens on LandTrust, that $10 conservation fee is going to those guys for all turkey bookings. So we are very excited for you to both get out and hunt on some awesome properties on LandTrust in a bunch of different states, chase your slam, et cetera. Even that Gould's turkey hunt down in Mexico we mentioned. And while you're doing that, you're putting money in the hat for the guys doing the work to make sure we got a bunch more turkeys on the ground. If you haven't yet, create a free LandTrust profile. It's super easy. It takes seconds. And we got a lot of really interesting stuff coming up that you want to stay on the loop on. We're building some stuff that's going to make getting outdoors and finding those perfect hunts much easier and maybe a little bit more proactive, where we're showing the perfect hunt to you based on what we know about you. And it's less marketing and more a personal assistant. So create a free LandTrust account, landtrust.com, sign up. It's free. Tell us what you like, and we're going to get you the kind of perfect opportunities in front of you. We scout effectively 365 days a year for you, 24/7. So we will constantly be bringing you great new opportunities. So create that today. If you are a landowner and this all sounds interesting to you, you can go to landtrust.com/landowners. There's a bunch of content on there. There's videos, testimonials of landowners who've been with us for years and years. A bunch of frequently asked questions, all that. So if it sounds interesting, go there. It's free to sign up, free to get listed. Our team will do a lot of the work for you. We'll do all the work for you to get you live and starting hosting and generating some income from your property. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for listening again to LandTrust Podcast. This is our Outsides Insider series, and we'll catch you next week.